Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the first slate of divisional games. It's game one of the divisional round between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. What a game! What a game to start off the divisional round. The wildcard games left off where these games picked up, and this was an exciting one today. So without me rambling on too much more in the intro, let's get in to recapping the first game of the divisional round. It's an AFC matchup, Broncos versus Bills. If you like this video, please consider giving a like. It lets me know if I'm doing a good job with these videos or not. And if you'd like to, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more future playoff content, but also any Seahawks content. That would be greatly appreciated. Game summary: the Broncos win 33 to the Bills 30 at home in OT. Let's get to the Denver Broncos first. They had a total of 349 total yards, 279 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, average 5.1 yards per play, 22 first downs. They went 8 for 16 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, had 68 total plays, 0 sacks allowed, 4 punts, 3 penalties for 20 yards given up, 0 fumbles lost, the 1 interception thrown by Bo Nix. He got it picked off by a big man, Delane Walker. And the Broncos ended off the day with 29 minutes and 18 seconds of possession time. For the Buffalo Bills, they had 449 total yards, 266 yards passing, 183 yards rushing, averaged 5.8 yards per play, had 28 first downs. They went 10 for 16 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, had 78 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, no punts, 5 penalties for 68 yards given up, 3 fumbles lost, 2 interceptions thrown by Josh Allen, 1 picked off by PJ Locke, the other one picked off in OT by McLaughlin. And the Buffalo Bills ended off the day with 40 minutes and 58 seconds of possession time. As we get to Ryan's focus players, let's talk about QB Bo Nix, 26 for 46, 279 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Of course, the one big man interception. And Bo Nix in this game, no sacks allowed. And here is the big thing about this game that we have to remember. Bo Nix is coming in one seed. He's rested. He's coming in at home. It's a hostile environment for the Bills. And he showed up against the number one passing defense in the NFL this season for the regular season. And he puts on a very good clinic. He is able to throw it across the middle against these linebackers. He's able to do a lot of things, a lot of drop back passes, and he's able to avoid pressure when it gets to him. A lot of what happened in this game from the Broncos' perspective, he threw the ball very, very well, even getting a big man touchdown to score the first touchdown of the Broncos game today to, I believe his name is Frank Crum. He's an extra offensive lineman that they use in their offensive lineman packages when they're going for runs. They also throw it out of there. Sean Payton really set him up for success in this game. And Bo Nix, man, as someone who doesn't watch, as a Seahawks fan who doesn't watch the Broncos very much and didn't get to watch them very much this season, I think their offense really showed that they can go into the playoffs and play very well. So good game from Bo Nix. Yes, he does have the one blemish of the big man interception, but man, that didn't really seem to hurt him much. And Bo Nix kept the ball security to a very good spot. That's what helped him win this game. Also, his use of his legs to avoid the pressure and get no sacks on him was great as well. Running back Jaleel McLaughlin, 4 carries for 21 yards, averaged 5.2 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. And here's a thing that I was very adamant about in my playoff predictions for the divisional round. I said that the Broncos, if they were going to win this game, it was going to be through the ground. I was completely wrong, except they did use that exploit that the Bills defense has, and that's very little run game to the outside. They were basically making sure that their offensive line, especially I believe he's a left guard for you guys in minors, was very good at pushing back these Bills defenders on the defensive line, along with the rest of the offensive line for the Broncos. And they really slashed them up the middle. They slashed them in the outside run game, and that really helped. Even though Jaleel McLaughlin didn't get many carries and many yards, he did help salt this game away for the Broncos. Not in OT, but during the game, it was a lot of, get the clock started, kind of uh, get the possession rolling a little bit. So good game from Jaleel McLaughlin. And let's get to wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. 8 receptions, 93 yards, average 11.6 yards per reception, the one touchdown to send it to overtime, basically. And this was brilliant, a brilliant game from Marvin Mims Jr. He had a terrific game, and considering that the Broncos don't really have they're you're looking at the Broncos wide receiver core. They were without two receivers in, I believe his name was Pat Bryant and something Franklin. I can't remember his first name, but they were without two of their starters. So Marvin Mims, a guy who on the broadcast apparently doesn't get many receptions as of late because he's a kick and special teams returner. Um, his speed, there's obviously a reason why he's on special teams, and there's obviously a big thing in this game where it's next man up mentality. And Marvin Mims, 8 receptions and 8 targets in this game for Bo Nix. He became one of Bo Nix's favorite wide receivers, and you can see why. His speed down the boundary was amazing, and great game from Marvin Mims to catch that touchdown to bring it into basically OT with 55 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Hope he's okay because he did hurt himself a bit after that touchdown, but hopefully he's ready to go for the conference championship. Let's get to the Broncos D line and defense. Malcolm Roach, 3 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 1.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. This is amazing from a guy like Malcolm Roach. He's a defensive tackle. And the big thing I'm going to talk about for this Broncos defense was facing and getting turnovers on this Bills team. This is something that I was not privy to coming into this game. I didn't know how good the Broncos defense was. They put me on notice. I've seen, some things of them doing very well in the regular season, and they're a team that has the most sacks in the NFL. I believe it's 68 in the regular season, and most of those didn't result in turnovers, but they did today. Malcolm Roach, man, he is a guy that I think, along with this rest of this defensive front, did very well. Not in stopping James Cook necessarily, but getting pressure in Josh Allen's face. And one thing I said for the Broncos is that if Josh Allen is hurried, if he's off his spot, if he's not getting enough time to throw, he will have some issues. And he did in this game. So great game from Malcolm Roach and the D line. Let's get to safety. PJ Locke, 6 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 0 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. Now, I can't tell you when the forced fumble exactly was in this game because there were a lot of turnovers for me to keep track of. However, there was an interception from Bo Nix that was the big man interception in the second quarter. And you know what? The Bills were driving at that point. They had gotten the turnover. They were getting on their horses. They were making sure that James Cook was starting the drive off great for him. And then Josh Allen throws it high, and PJ Locke goes for the ball. I don't remember who Josh Allen was throwing to at that moment, but he just steps in front of it and picks it off. And Josh Allen gives it right back to the Broncos, and it was a great game from PJ Locke, especially when you can do something that on defense where you're like, oh, sudden change, let's go. And there's a thing where it's okay, as a defender, sudden change, what can we do to minimize the damage? Well, we can pick off Josh Allen. That is certainly a thing. And this was a very uncharacteristic game from Josh Allen, but a great game for the Broncos defense, especially in the secondary. Good game from safety PJ Locke. Let's get to linebacker. And I was going to talk about Dre Greenlaw, but then I had to talk about a guy that I know from this Broncos defense very, very well. Another guy in the inside linebacker core, Alex Singleton, 11 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 0 sacks, 1 forced fumble on James Cook. And man, oh man, was Alex Singleton all over the field, leading his team in tackles yesterday evening. But here's the thing about Alex Singleton is I know that guy in terms of his tackling. His tackling is great. He's a tackling machine, but this hit that he laid on James Cook to force this fumble was insane. We know that James Cook is the leading rusher in the league for this year, and he's had some fumble issues. I believe it's seven most in the regular season. But here's the thing, and here's why getting momentum from your defense is so important. And Alex Singleton, man, what a game from him, forcing the fumble on James Cook, stopping some drives there, and the Broncos took advantage of it. Good game from Alex Singleton to get the points on the board for the Broncos when they made sure that James Cook turned it over and then it went the other way on the Broncos offense to score those points. Let's get to Bills QB Josh Allen, 25 for 39, 283 yards passing, the 3 touchdowns, one to Keon Coleman, the other one to McCole Hartman Jr., the other one to Dalton Kincaid. And you look at those 3 touchdowns, but he's also got the 2 interceptions. And one of them came in OT against the corner McLaughlin. The other one came against PJ Locke. But you look at Josh Allen's rushing numbers, 12 carries, 66 yards, average 5.5 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns, had the 2 fumbles. And we'll get to that. Josh Allen, uncharacteristically, and this is why I picked the Bills, because in my predictions, I said the offense and the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, either are going to win this game because Josh Allen is going to be an alien again, like he was in the Jaguars game, or they're going to lose this game because Josh Allen is getting pressure on his face and he can't really do much. Well, Josh Allen had the kind of weirdest game I've seen from him because he was very careless with the ball at certain points, especially on those fumbles, but he was also the reason why the Bills got it to OT. They're the reason why he had a chance because even though he's got those turnovers, you look at his touchdowns, you look at his numbers, you watch him play, and he's still doing alien things. There's there's only one quarterback, I believe, in the league that could have 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 picks, and still come out with 283 passing yards and get it to OT for his team, and that's Josh Allen. I think in the second quarter, when you're at 22 seconds, it's 10-10 in this game, and you get stripped and you fumble the ball and it goes the other way, and Broncos score 17 points in the second quarter to end 10 points in the last little bit to go 20-10 into the half is just something very careless. But again, I'm not here to rip on Josh Allen. I think without him, without his performance, the Bills wouldn't have made it to OT, and this would have been a very different story. So, a decent game from Josh Allen, just very uncharacteristic with those turnovers. But I think he had a decent day, and I think the defense could have been better for him. But let's get to running back James Cook, 24 for 117 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, zero touchdowns. This is more like it. I was expecting James Cook to have a very big impact in the Jaguars game, and he didn't last week. But here he was kind of running angry. And yes, he did have the fumble, but I think one thing that we can look at James Cook and say is that his dashing ability, especially with his jump cuts are something unbelievable. As a runner, he is very explosive when he can get going and when this offensive line can block for him very well. And you can see it here 117 yards rushing, and he had some very big gains in this one to keep momentum and drives alive for the Bills. And he's a very big part of why this Bills team is so good on offense. So great game from James Cook. Let's get to wide receiver Khalil Shakir. Again, I'm going to highlight him because he is one of the best receivers on this team. 7 receptions, 75 yards, average 10.7 yards per reception, zero touchdowns. And although Khalil Shakir didn't get a touchdown in this game, his ability to just chew up yards, he got the longest pass of the game, which was 24 yards from Josh Allen in the fourth. And in the third quarter, I believe, was that one. And he's just such a great route runner. He is very underrated as a wide receiver. I don't think we give enough respect around the league to a guy like Khalil Shakir and to guys like Dalton Kincaid, who made a miraculous catch at tight end. But a great game from Kier. He did have 9 targets and dropped 2 passes, but ultimately, you're not going to catch every pass that's thrown to you. Bills defense, D lineman, Donnie Walker, 2 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, the 1 interception, the big man pick. Ultimately, that pick didn't end up meaning anything for the Bills in the end. But man, it's always nice to see a big man interception because that doesn't happen very often. Bo Nix, immediately when that happened, he literally didn't see him. And I don't know how because these guys are 300 pounds at least, and they're usually 6'3", 6'4" kind of guys. So a good game from the D tackle. He's a rookie as well. I don't know if he was picked this year. You correct me if I'm wrong, Bills fans, but I think he had a pretty decent game. Getting that pick is definitely something that I think should be highlighted and celebrated. Just wish this D line would put a little bit more pressure on Bo Nix in terms of the sack department. They were getting pressure, but Bo Nix was just easy to evade that type of pressure. Let's get to DB corner slash safety in this one. Cam Lewis, six solo tackles, 4 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Cam Lewis, he was very impressive because they didn't have Poyer in this one. And with Jordan Poyer, that's a very big player to lose on the back end of this Bills team. But a guy like Cam Lewis coming in and making some of the plays he did, I know he broke up a couple passes. I think he did very well in this game with the breaking up passes. He really was on some wide receivers, and playing safety as a cornerback is very hard. So I think Cam Lewis had a very good day in this one. Let's get to linebacker, the only linebacker that I seem to be able to highlight for this Bills team. It's Shaq Thompson again, 4 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Shaq Thompson is a very good middle linebacker. He might be older, but he is still got the tackling ability and he's still got the coverage ability. He is a guy that got 2 tackles for loss in this game. He was helping out with the run game, and the run game was actually very non-existent for the Broncos when they realized that they could drop and pass against this linebacker core. I think Shaq Thompson had a very decent day in this one. Thoughts on the game for the Broncos? You guys played a good game. Really surprised and interested to see what this team can do for the rest of the playoffs. Bo Nix was able to have some big splash plays, the one to Marvin Mims, the offensive lineman to Frank Crum, That touchdown was insane. That was a really nice play design. And man, Sean Payton shows why this team got the first seed in the AFC. His play calling was great in this one. And I think the Broncos are a team to watch in the AFC, even though they don't have Bo Nix anymore. Bo Nix is out for the rest of the playoffs because he took a knee on the second last play of the game to set up a game-winning field goal in OT from Will Lutz. He did, I think he broke a bone in his foot, and that requires surgery now. So he was out, and it was a freak accident. You don't see that much when you're taking a knee and you get injured like that. um but great game from Bo Nix. I think from the second year QB out of Oregon, he really did well here. Buffalo, just way too many turnovers, uncharacteristic of Josh Allen and this Bills team. Plus, their tackling, man. Their tackling in this game was very suspect. And for a team like the Buffalo Bills, with the number one passing defense in the league, this season, they don't give up much run after catch. And you saw that against the Jaguars. They were on the spot whenever they tackled a Jaguars wide receiver. Not here. Um, it was very uncharacteristically bad on the tackling front from this Bills defense against these Bronco wide receivers. I'm very surprised. And honestly, people are going to point to Josh Allen and the turnovers and choking in OT, but also the penalties. I'm going to say, whether you find it controversial that there was defensive pass interference on the PI call in OT to basically set up the game-winning field goal for Will Lutz on Tre'Davious White. I don't know what to tell you. It's a penalty. They called it. You can blame the officials all you want, but at the end of the day, you just gotta know the rules, I guess. And we know that often we know that officiating can be awful, but there's a point where you need to not throw an interception in a crucial time in OT. Whether that's an interception or not, you can debate it, but again, they gave it to him. So that's a thing of like Josh Allen had a very interesting time against a defense of the Broncos that has a D line that is prolific in sacking the quarterback, and they got some turnovers off of it this time. That's how they won this game, and Bo Nix played very well in this game himself. But anyways, that is it for this first divisional game of the divisional Broncos versus Bills. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How are you feeling, Broncos fans? Moving on to the AFC Championship game. Let me know your thoughts. Anyways, take care of yourselves. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.